What are some of the things you're doing in practice that give you hope? Can you give us any particular set that Duncan may have done in the past 12 months or so that kind of gives you some hope?
Yeah, I mean, we're fairly polarized in our approach to training. So we spend quite a lot of time at lower intensity and fairly extensively just working on technical skill or pure speed. And as we get a little bit closer to the competition, that's when we start working on our preparation. And, we have specific sets that we've tried, or we do try in those phases. And, like I said, we always start from a speed base and try and develop the speed into endurance. So one example, we did what we call an anaerobic power set. And it might have been the preparation leading into the trials in April. And we went 250s. No, we did it the other way around. We went 650s with 10 seconds rest at 200 race pace. You had to try and go 26.5. We did a little bit of a swim down. We went 450s at 100 meter back end pace. So they had to be round about 24 flat with 30 seconds rest. Jeez. A little bit more swim down. And then we did 250s from a dive as fast as you can with no air on 4 minutes. And that was pretty challenging. And we found that actually some of the elements of that were a little bit too hard at that point, but it didn't bother us. He was still really quick. But when we got to the preparation for the Olympics, we made it a little bit shorter. So we went 150 dive with no air, and it was feet leaving long course. I think Duncan went 21.3. Then we went 250s from a push, rest 30, and he was 23.3, then 23.6. And then we went 450s, rest 10. And they were all around about the 25 high mark. So I quite like to make the race pace work very dense. So yeah, for me, if you want to be able to hold an intensity through a race, then you have to be able to do it in training without too much rest. So you can either do short fractions of very little rest or increase the length of the repeats. So one set we do use, but not always, because there is a psychological element to doing the same set over and over and it not being great, is 2 100s. One is dive to feet. You take 10 seconds rest and then you go push to touch. And normally we'll do that 7 days out, and it gives us quite a good idea of what sort of time to expect when we get to the meet.
What's his best at that?
He's best in the front end, feet leaving is 49, and on the back end 51 high, or 52 low. So we use that just to really just get used to the pain tolerance on the set. And sometimes what we do is we then add on another 50 right after it, just to really hurt. Or we'll ask him to do the first 100 but overcommit and go out too fast, and then just get used to holding on, just in case in a race something happens and you unintentionally overcommit, or you're a little bit too rested. So there's a lot of speed there, and you just learn how to physically and psychologically deal with that, the high levels of lactate. So we've done that. We stole one from Yakko, because I heard it on, I think it might have been your podcasts, if I'm honest. And it was 2 sets of 3 100s on 2 minutes at 100 back end pace. We did it before trials, and the key to it was making sure that each 100 was constructed well. So it wasn't 24.5, 27.0, it was 26.0, 26.0. And I think he averaged about 52 flat long course on that with a suit on. And we did it again before trials. But the key is that the first one's got to be controlled for us anyway. And you try and replicate your third 50 into your back 50. But by the time you get to the third one, that's really, really challenging.
Wow.
So
good stuff, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I purposely just shut up just to let you talk, because I want to go back and kind of write some of this stuff out. But in my mind, I'm doing some math here. I'm like, there's not many people in the world that could do this. I mean, I'm thinking 1, 2, maybe 3 people in the world that could pop a set like that on those types of intervals. I mean, you got a special athlete there, mate. That's pretty nice.